I was sitting across from Madison at our favorite coffee shop in downtown Portland, holding her caramel latte with extra caramel drizzle and no whip, exactly how she liked it. I had just gotten promoted as senior project manager at the construction firm, and I wanted to celebrate with her. But she was distant scrolling through Instagram staring at someone's profile. When I asked if everything was okay, she gave me this tight smile and said, "We need to talk." My stomach dropped, but I tried to stay calm. I had no idea that those 4 words would teach me the hardest lesson about what women really want versus what they say they need. Before I tell you how this unfolded, I want to know, have you ever been told you were too good for someone? Drop a comment and let me know where you are watching from. If this story sounds familiar, hit that like button. And subscribe, because what happened next changed everything. I thought I knew about relationships. So there I was sitting across from Madison watching my 3-year relationship about to crumble. Let me take you back to how we got here. 3 years earlier, I met Madison at a mutual friend's barbecue on a warm summer afternoon. I was helping fix a broken deck railing when she walked over impressed that I actually knew what I was doing, with a drill and some wood screws. We talked for hours that day. Our first date was at the waterfront park. I packed a picnic basket myself, made sandwiches, brought the chips she had casually mentioned liking during our conversation at the barbecue. She told me she loved how thoughtful and genuine I was. That is what she said. Thoughtful. Genuine. I built our relationship the same way I approached everything else in my life, with care and intention. I had a steady job at Anderson Construction, saved my money, planned for the future. I remembered important dates: her mother's birthday, the anniversary of her dog, passing away 3 years before we met. I fixed things around her apartment without being asked that leaky faucet under her kitchen sink, the squeaky bedroom door that drove her crazy. When she got sick, I brought her homemade chicken soup. After bad days at the dental office where she worked as a hygienist, I picked up her favorite Thai food, the red curry with extra vegetables she always ordered. Her friends called me the perfect boyfriend. For her birthday during our 2nd year together, I planned a surprise weekend trip to Cannon Beach, because she had mentioned months earlier that she wanted to see the ocean there. I researched the best restaurants, booked a room with a view of Haystack Rock, packed everything she would need. She cried when I told her. Happy tears, she said. She told me she had never felt so loved. Madison worked at a dental office downtown and was close with her younger sister Amber. She had a history of dating unpredictable guys before me, guys who forgot her birthday, who canceled plans last minute, who made her cry more than they made her smile. When we started dating, she told me she was done with drama. She wanted someone stable, someone who showed up, someone she could count on. I thought I was exactly what she needed, but around month 28, things started changing. Small things at first. She stayed out later with her coworkers after work. She seemed less enthusiastic about our weekend plans. She started making little comments like, "You are so predictable," but she would smile when she said it, so I thought it was affectionate teasing. She spent more time on her phone, especially on Instagram, scrolling through photos and videos of people doing things that looked nothing like our quiet evenings together. Then she started mentioning Derek. He was a new bartender at the place where she met up with coworkers on Friday nights. Derek was interesting, she said. He had tattoos covering both arms, rode a motorcycle, played guitar in some local band that performed at dive bars around the city. She brought him up constantly. Did I see Derek's Instagram post about his road trip to California? Derek went cliff diving last weekend. Derek's band might go on tour next summer. One night she showed me his profile. Photos of him on his motorcycle leather jacket, no helmet. Pictures from concerts, shirtless gym photos showing off those tattoos. I felt something twist in my chest, a feeling I was not used to. Insecurity. But I pushed it down. Madison loved me. We had 3 years together. I was being paranoid. That is when the comparison started. Derek went skydiving last weekend. Do you ever want to do something spontaneous? She asked one Saturday morning while I was making us breakfast. I pointed out that we could go skydiving if she wanted. That is not the point, she said. You would research it for 6 weeks, find the safest company, read all the reviews, plan it to death. That is not spontaneous. Another time I suggested a weekend trip to Seattle. I had already looked up the best restaurants, mapped out which museums we could visit, found a great hotel near Pike Place Market. Her response was a sigh. See, you have a spreadsheet for everything. What if we just did not plan? What if we just got in the car and drove somewhere? I tried to be more spontaneous after that. I surprised her with concert tickets to a band she had mentioned liking once in passing. I thought she would be thrilled. Instead, she said, "Oh, that is sweet, but I was hoping we could just see what happens this weekend. You know, be flexible." I could not win. The worst was the group hangout. Madison invited me to meet her coworkers at the bar where Derek worked. I should have known it would be painful. Derek was everything I was not. Loud, charismatic, telling wild stories about getting fired from his last job because he argued with his manager over something stupid. He thought it was hilarious. Everyone laughed. He talked about his band's tour plans, these grand ideas about playing shows up and down the West Coast, even though they had zero actual bookings. Madison laughed at everything he said. She touched his arm when he made jokes. I tried to join the conversation, mention my recent promotion at work. Derek looked at me with this smirk and said, "Man, sounds like you have your whole life figured out. That is nice." The way he said nice felt like an insult, like I was boring, like having my life together was somehow a character flaw. Madison barely talked to me the rest of the night. On the drive home, she was on her phone the entire time. I asked if she had fun. "Yeah," she said without looking up. "Derek is so fun to be around. He just lives life, you know." I gripped the steering wheel tighter. "I live life too," I said quietly. "It is different," she replied. I did not push it, but driving through those dark Portland streets, I felt hollow inside, like I was losing something I did not know how to hold on to. That brings us back to the coffee shop, to Madison's tight smile and those four terrible words. "We need to talk." "Jonathan, you are an amazing guy," she started. My heart was already sinking. I knew that setup. You are amazing, but you really are. You're going to make someone really happy someday. I set down my coffee. "What are you saying, Madison?" She took a breath. "You are just too nice, too safe." Each word landed like a stone in my chest. "I feel like I am dating my future accountant, not my boyfriend. When is the last time you did something wild? Something that was not planned 3 weeks in advance?" I tried to defend myself. "I surprised you with those concert tickets last month." She shook her head. "Even your surprises are calculated, Jonathan. You researched the band's set list, bought the tickets 6 weeks early to get good seats. That is not spontaneous. That is scheduled spontaneity." The accusation stung because it was true, but I thought planning showed I cared. "Is this about Derek?" I asked, my voice harder than I intended. There was a long pause. She looked down at her coffee. "Derek knows how to live. He takes risks. He is exciting." She met my eyes again. "I need someone who makes me feel alive, not someone who brings me soup and fixes my car." That one hurt. "I thought that is what caring looked like," I said. "It is," she replied. "You are wonderful, but I need more than wonderful. I need unpredictable. I need someone who does not have a 5-year plan and a retirement account at 28 years old." That line cut the deepest. I was proud of my financial responsibility, proud that I was building something stable. She made it sound like a prison sentence. I tried one more time. "I can be more spontaneous. We can—" She cut me off. "I do not want you to change. You should not have to. I just need someone different. Someone who does not have everything figured out all the time." She had already made up her mind. I could see it in her eyes. This was not a discussion. This was a notification. She probably already started something with Derek. The thought made me sick. She pulled out cash and left it on the table, even though I always paid. I had already paid. It felt like a statement, like she was cutting every last tie. "Take care of yourself, Jonathan. You deserve someone who appreciates you," she said, then walked out. I sat there alone, watching my coffee get cold, watching through the window as she pulled out her phone and texted someone. She was smiling. Probably Derek. Probably telling him it was done. Probably already making plans to hop on the back of his motorcycle and ride off into some spontaneous sunset. The next 3 months were the darkest I had experienced. I threw myself into work. The promotion to senior project manager became official. 15% raise. The company loved my detailed project plans, my ability to bring developments in on time and under budget. But coming home to my empty apartment felt suffocating. My friends tried to get me out. I declined every invitation. I made the mistake of not unfollowing Madison on social media. I tortured myself watching her new life unfold in real time. Photos of her on the back of Derek's motorcycle hair, blowing in the wind. Pictures at bars, at underground concerts, spontaneous road trips to the coast. Her captions killed me. Living for the moment with a motorcycle emoji and a heart. He makes every day an adventure. The comments from her friends were worse. You look so happy. This is the Madison we know. Each post felt like a knife twisting deeper. Was I really that boring? That inadequate. One night I scrolled back through our old photos together. All my boring gestures documented there. The surprise breakfast I made on her birthday. The bike I fixed for her. The bookshelf I built because she mentioned wanting one. In every single photo, she was smiling. When did smiling become not enough? I almost texted her. I typed out, "I miss you," and stared at it for 10 minutes before deleting it. Instead, I focused on the one thing I could control: work. I was managing the biggest project of my career, a new residential development on the east side. The attention to detail that Madison found boring my company found invaluable. And I finally got approval for the house loan I had been working toward. I had been saving for a down payment for 3 years. At 28 years old, I was buying my first house. I should have felt proud. I felt empty. I wished I had someone to tell someone who would understand what this meant. My mom was thrilled when I called her, but it was not the same. All I could think was that Madison would have said this was just more proof I was boring, more evidence that I was too planned, too safe, too predictable. 4 months after the breakup, I ran into Amber at the grocery store. Madison's sister looked uncomfortable when she saw me, but stopped to talk anyway. We made awkward small talk. She asked how I was doing. Good, I said, trying to sound casual. I actually bought a house. Her eyes went wide. Wow, that is really great, Jonathan. There was an awkward pause, and then she said something that changed everything. Can I tell you something? As someone who always liked you. She told me Madison was not doing great. Derek had lost another job. His third one in 4 months, Amber said. Turns out spontaneous means he cannot hold down employment. The band broke up too. Derek fought with everyone and blamed them when they kicked him out. He is living on Madison's couch now, Amber continued. She is paying for everything, his food gas for his motorcycle, his bar tabs when they go out. The details kept spilling out. Madison worked all day at the dental office, came home exhausted, and Derek had been playing video games on her couch. Last week, he borrowed $300 from her for band equipment, Amber said. He bought a new tattoo instead. She is exhausted, Jonathan. She will not admit she made a mistake because she is too proud, but I can see it. She misses you. I processed this information quietly. Part of me felt vindicated. The spontaneous bad boy could not even wake up for work shifts, argued with every boss he ever had quit whenever someone criticized him. Derek's exciting, wild stories about getting fired were not funny anecdotes. They were a pattern of immaturity and irresponsibility. But another part of me just felt sad for Madison. I appreciate you telling me, I said to Amber. She hesitated, then asked, would you ever consider— she really did love you. I thought about it for exactly 2 seconds. I appreciate that, I said, keeping my voice kind but firm. But I am moving forward. Amber nodded like she understood. Walking to my car, I felt something shift inside me. Not happiness that Madison was struggling, but validation. I was not the problem. Being nice was not the problem. Madison had confused stability with boring responsibility with lack of passion. Derek was not exciting. He was just unreliable. There is a difference between spontaneity and chaos, between passion and dysfunction. I was finally starting to see that clearly. 2 months later, I moved into my new house. It was a 3-bedroom craftsman-style home in a safe neighborhood, with good schools, not that I needed those yet. But I was thinking ahead like I always did. At 29 years old, I was a homeowner. I threw a small housewarming party with close friends and family. My best friend Marcus gave a toast. To the most reliable guy I know, he said, raising his beer. And that is a compliment. Everyone laughed. I laughed too. For the first time in months, I genuinely felt good. I started focusing on myself not to prove anything to Madison, but because I wanted to grow. I joined a gym and went consistently, not obsessively, just 3 times a week. I took a woodworking class I had always wanted to try but never had time for during the relationship. I discovered I loved it. I built a custom bookshelf for my living room, 8 feet tall, solid oak. When I posted a photo of the finished piece on social media, just proud of what I had created, multiple friends commented asking if I could build things for them. At work, I led the community center development project to completion. We came in under budget and ahead of schedule. The company was so impressed they offered me a partnership track. At 30 years old, I could potentially be a part owner of the construction firm. The boring spreadsheets and 5-year plans that Madison criticized were now the foundation of my success. 6 months after the conversation with Amber, I was at Home Depot buying lumber for a deck project when I turned a corner with my cart and nearly crashed into Madison. She looked different, tired. Her hair was less styled than I remembered, pulled back in a simple ponytail. She was wearing her dental scrubs, clearly coming from work. The shock on her face was obvious. "Jonathan," she said. "Hi." "Hi, Madison," I replied. The awkwardness hung between us like fog. She looked at the lumber in my cart. "What are you building?" "A deck for my house," I said. "I bought a place last year." Something flickered across her face. Sadness, maybe regret. "That is amazing. Congratulations." She hesitated, fidgeting with her keys. "I heard from Amber that you two talked." I nodded. "Yeah, I hope you are doing okay." Her eyes started to water. "Derek moved out last month. Well, I asked him to leave." I kept my voice gentle. "I am sorry to hear that." She shook her head. "Do not be. I am the one who should be sorry." The tears came then. "I was so stupid, Jonathan. I thought I wanted excitement and spontaneity. I do not even know what I was thinking." Her voice cracked. "You were everything I should have wanted. You are everything anyone should want. And I threw it away for someone who could not even show up for a shift at work, who borrowed money for important things and spent it on tattoos, who blamed everyone else when his band fell apart." She wiped her eyes. "I had someone who showed up every single day, who cared about the little things, who was building an actual future, and I called that boring. I am so sorry." I felt compassion standing there, genuine compassion for her pain, but absolutely no desire to go back. That realization was freeing. "Madison," I said carefully, "I hope you find what you are looking for. But I have learned something important. I am not too nice. I am exactly nice enough. The right person will not see thoughtfulness as boring. They will not see planning as lack of spontaneity. They will see it as someone who cares enough to think ahead." She nodded, still crying. "You deserve so much better than how I treated you." "I know," I said. "It was not mean, just honest. And I am finding it." We said goodbye. Not angry, not bitter, just done. I walked to the checkout with my lumber and did not look back. For the first time since the coffee shop conversation, I felt genuinely free. The year that followed was about healing. Real healing, not just distraction. The first few months after seeing Madison were not immediately peaceful. Some nights I still thought about her, about us, but not with longing, more with reflection. I kept asking myself what I had been willing to change about myself just to keep someone who did not value me. The answer scared me. I had been ready to become less of who I was. That would have been the real loss. I continued with the woodworking class and got genuinely good at it. I built a custom dining table, 8 feet of solid oak that I sanded and stained myself. I was incredibly proud of that table. A friend saw it and commissioned me to build a coffee table for his living room. I started a small side business not for the money, just for the joy of creating something with my hands. Planning and creating were not boring. They were fulfilling. My social life rebuilt itself naturally. I grew closer to Marcus and my other friends. We had game nights at my house since I actually had space now. When Marcus's car broke down, I helped him fix it in my driveway. He joked, "Yeah, you are so boring with your useful skills and your tools and your ability to solve actual problems." I laughed, comfortable in my own skin in a way I had not been in years. The partnership offer at work became official right after my 30th birthday. I was the youngest partner in the firm's history. I led a team of 12 people on major developments across the city. Those boring spreadsheets and 5-year plans. They were the company's most valuable assets. What Madison saw as flaws, my company saw as strengths. I started dating again casually. I went on a few dates from apps, a couple of setups from friends. Then I met Sarah at a charity event Marcus dragged me to. She was a teacher, practical and kind. On our third date, I brought her a lavender plant for her apartment because she had mentioned in passing that she loved the smell of lavender. Her reaction made me pause. "You actually listened?" she said, genuinely surprised. That is so rare. I realized something in that moment. The right person sees your gestures as evidence that you care, not as boring routine. Sarah and I started dating more seriously. She planned things too. We traded off. She surprised me with tickets to a Trailblazers game because I mentioned loving basketball. I planned a weekend at the coast because she said she needed to get away from the city. It was balanced. It was healthy. It was nothing like what I had with Madison. Standing in my living room now, surrounded by furniture I built in a house I own with a career I am proud of. I can see everything clearly. I am 30 years old. I am successful content and still growing. All those boring things. Madison criticized the planning, the saving, the showing up, the remembering details. They are why I am here. They are why I have something real to show for my life. Our culture romanticizes chaos and calls it passion. It romanticizes unreliability and calls it spontaneity. It romanticizes emotional unavailability and calls it mystery. But real love, the kind that lasts, the kind that builds something worth keeping, that love shows up. It remembers. It plans. It cares enough to be reliable. It is present. I do not hate Madison. I do not regret loving her or the 3 years we spent together. But I also do not regret that she left. It taught me my value. It taught me that not everyone is ready for what I offer, and that is okay. Their unreadiness is not my inadequacy. Sometimes the kindest thing someone can do is leave. Not because you were not enough, but because they were not ready for what enough actually looks like. Madison wanted a bad boy. She got one. She learned what I always knew. Bad is not exciting. It is just bad. Meanwhile, I learned something better. Being good, truly good, takes strength. Being consistent when the world tells you to be wild. Being thoughtful when everyone else is careless, that is not boring. That is brave. I am standing on my deck right now, the one I built myself, coffee in hand. I still drink caramel lattes. I make them myself now. It is Saturday morning and Sarah is coming over for breakfast. I am looking at this house I own, this life I built, not despite being too nice, but because of it. I am smiling, genuinely content. I am not too nice. I am exactly who I am supposed to be. And somewhere out there is someone who will not just appreciate that, they will celebrate it. Maybe I already found her. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been told you were too much of something good? Too kind, too thoughtful? Too caring? Or maybe you have been on the other side, chasing excitement and finding out it was just chaos with better marketing? Drop a comment below and share your story. I read every single one. And if this resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel because I share stories like this every week. Real experiences, real lessons, no sugarcoating. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that being good is not a weakness. It is a superpower. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that the right person will never ask you to be less of who you are. They will love you more for being exactly yourself. Take care of yourselves out there, and remember, boring is just another word for reliable, and reliable is just another word for love.